Welcome to our new Next Generation series at Soccer Down Here, where we'll be digging into the youth soccer world. We'll talk about youth development. We'll talk to leaders at youth clubs, at state associations, and other organizations who are involved in youth soccer. This is something that I've been wanting to tackle, as we can here at Soccer Down Here, because the youth game really is about that next generation. It's about the next generation of players. It's about creating the next generation of fans. It's about developing coaches and referees. And it's such a vital part of American soccer. And sometimes it gets left out when everybody gets swept up with the professional game and the clubs and that side of it. So we will be jumping into the youth game as much as we can at Soccer Down Here, and let us know if there's any topics that you would like us to specifically dig into, and we will track down the experts to have these interviews for you. Today's Next Generation show is going to focus on Global Image Sports. It's an organization that is based in the Atlanta area, started in 2010 by James and Jackie Aberhart, and what they do is they pair up European professional clubs and now expanding into South America as well, but pairing those clubs up with youth clubs in the United States and creating meaningful partnerships between the two. And it's an organization that I've known of for a number of years now. When I worked for Soccer in the Streets, GIS was great in donating spaces in some of their camps with clubs coming over, academy coaches coming over, and they donated spots in their camps to kids from our organization who wouldn't, otherwise be able to afford that opportunity. And just to be able to take that time out really spoke to me about the organization and its values. And they're a group that I've been wanting to talk to and learn more about for a number of years. I connected with Reese Williams, who oversees everything here now in the States in terms of the organization, and he invited me out to one of their days of their national camps. And the two clubs that were involved this time were Wolverhampton Wanderers and Espanyol. And GIS has worked with Wolves for a number of years. Espanyol, this was their first camp in the United States, and it was really cool to talk to the different youth coaches who were there and kind of get their perspective, the guys who were new and this was their first time in the States, the guys who had been coming back year after year, and then to hear the perspective from Espanyol and why this is valuable to these clubs. Why are Wolves and Espanyol taking the time to send coaches over to the United States? What's in it for them? And what are they seeing in the American youth soccer world? It was a great morning in Rome at Darlington Academy, and thanks again to Reese and everybody at GIS for making it happen.
My name's Daniel Watson. I'm the lead under 11s and under 12s foundation coach at Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Okay, cool. Tell us a little bit about the camp today, kind of what the objective is.
So mainly from the first session I sort of done, I could tell that the boys had, sort of worked a lot technically. As I found that their ball skills and basic general control and passing was at a decent level. One thing I did notice though is that tactically, maybe they weren't as far advanced as I thought they'd be. So I spent a lot of time in the sessions mainly trying to work within games, sort of game situations as opposed to, going into just straight out drills. I'm really trying to relate whatever I'm doing in a real life game situation.
Perfect. You'll set some up.
Right, you said, remember the rule that was on there. So how do you think you got on with the sort of challenge that I tried to give you?
Well, terrible. I thought
But why?
because we're used to pressuring.
Okay, yeah, and sometimes that's just the way that you get coached. So what I'm asking you to do now, Ron, is probably a little bit alien, okay? To almost concede possession in certain areas of the field, but try and conserve energy by just pressing still, but just in the right areas of the field. So what I've done now with the cones is, did you notice I put down a few white cones on the side?
Yeah.
Okay, I want that to sort of be like a line of engagement, okay? So I want you to concede possession in sort of everywhere before that, okay? Why do you think that is? Because What do you think that would be? Do you think they're more likely to score from there or in there?
There.
Right. So I want you to concede possession in the place where they're least likely to score. Okay? And I want you to make sure that you organise and compact in the place where they're most likely to score, which is where? Yeah, your defensive half, isn't it? Okay? So this time now I want you to work really hard, and it's going to need communication from you, okay? And it's going to need you to almost change your mind and change your thinking a little bit. And just as a marker now, I'll start to lay a line of markers across the field so you can know where you need to drop back to, because sometimes it's difficult to see. All right? Yeah, so still one touch finish. When you're in attack, that's fine. All right, but most of the time in possession, especially when it goes out, I want you to come back to the retreat line. If it's a throw-in or if it's a goal kick or anything, I want you to try and drop back to the retreat line.
When I was scored, it was a volley, so that had to
Yeah, that counts as well. Right, think they can go? Yeah, see how the Greens get on with it, because if they're not used to not being pressed, they may find it tricky. All right, let's have a look. Right, who's got a ball? Oh, we haven't got a ball. Right, you ready? Oh, we got one. Okay, yeah, let's have a look how we get on then. Greens, you get to start. Okay, here comes your line. So, here comes your line. Ready to go. Okay, so what we do? You play the diamond now, please. You already have 3 in there, so you might be able to play a diamond with 2 up top. Possibly, ready? Off you go. So think about the line of engagement, think about where I want you to be, move back. Think about where I want the others to stand now. So yeah, I think what I've noticed instantly is, even though they've got an line of engagement, their natural nature, whenever they see the ball, is to just go straight after it. So as soon as we put the line down and kicked off, they played the ball back to their defenders, the opponents, and all the oranges set off just to go and press straight away. So again, it's just going to be lots of reinforcing the point, and trying to get them to understand that, yes, they're still doing a game, but we want them to try and develop something new that they probably haven't worked on before. And again, something like this, it will take sessions and sessions of, almost conditioning really, to get them to see the picture and understand just how effective it can be. But I think, again, like we say, it's just a different weapon that sometimes they need to have, to their armour as a team, to understand what it does to the opposition, and why they may do this in a game.
How long do you think it usually takes for kids this age to get this side of the tactical game?
I'd probably say it never stops, really. I don't think there's ever a time, that I've seen when a team's completely got it straight away. It's something that you kind of have to do, sort of drop in maybe once a week. Maybe not for too long, but just to keep their mind focused on these are the reasons why we do it. And sometimes it depends on the opposition that you may be, going to play really.
Right.
And again, it's just a different problem that you want to pose to your own players sometimes, and then the opposition as well, so that when they're facing the game and a team drops off them, they understand what they need to do in order to be successful then. Right. But also if a team's pressing them, they're also assured of what they need to do then when they're being pressed.
How do you balance at this age, especially the tactical side and the technical development? How do you find that balance?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing with the tactical one is, I think as when they start to feel it working in a game, it becomes a lot easier for them to want to do in practice. I think sometimes when as coaches, we try and do it in training, and it doesn't necessarily work in the game. I think sometimes the players may not buy into it or lose confidence in what they're doing, and then as a result, then it becomes difficult for them in training. I've certainly found at our club, whenever it's worked in a game, they're more hungry for to do it, really. But I think all players like to be with the ball, so they always like the technical bits that you may do. But I think as they start to get older, they do thirst for a little bit more tactical, especially the really clever players will start to understand how to hurt the opponents and how they're being hurt really. And I think if you don't give them an opportunity in a session to explore what are the opposition doing, how are we gonna deal with that, then sometimes the better players can become frustrated because they know how to change it, but they don't have an opportunity to do it.
How many times have you come to the States for camps like this?
I've been here for about the last 6 years, so pretty much since we started the partnership with GIS really. I've been out to pretty much every camp. And again, it's the standard of of players has always been a good standard. And again, the biggest difference has probably always been that tactical one. So players watching high level games and a high quantity of games as well from all leagues, just to get their understanding. So there's been occasions when I'd mention players in England, and sometimes I get a lot of blank faces.
Right.
But again, I think the more they watch it, the more they will understand sometimes what the coach is sort of saying, really. So the World Cup was brilliant.
Over that 6 years, have you seen a steady improvement in the level?
Yeah, overall, yes. I think it's probably helped. From what I've definitely seen in terms of the MLS, the standard of sort of coaching, the standard of the games has really risen, really. Yeah. And I think that's just signified by the quality of player that's sort of coming over. And watching watching the teams that I've watched anyway. You can really see the ideas of the coaches and the style of play.
It's been interesting here in Atlanta to see Tata Martino with Atlanta United and introduce concepts that MLS really hasn't been using much. Yeah. So to see different variety in the games, I wonder if we're going to see that in the next wave of kids that come through that have grown up watching the games locally.
Absolutely, and I mean, I don't know too much about the Atlanta team, but I've watched a few games, and I'm informed that a lot of the players that they've got there are sort of younger players that have sort of come through the system in America as opposed to being brought in from, really. And I think it's, from what I've seen from them, it's helped them to gel, and like you say, that just having a coach now that has that experience, that nous with those players now is starting to really help them benefit, amongst some other teams, really.
What's the benefit for Wolves being here and doing camps like this?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, we're trying to recruit the best. So at our club, we're trying to recruit the best coaches, the best staff, the best caterers, the best everything, really. And our job now is to leave no stone unturned and look for the best players, even in the US, really. So, you never know who's going to turn up to a camp one day. Yeah. And sort of shine, and it could be an opportunity. So, we've definitely seen US players come over to, various other clubs as well. And I think as our club, we just want to make sure that, we're doing our part as well to ensure that, if there's any good players out here, that we give them an opportunity for the quality coaching and an opportunity as well to experience what, sort of the EPL and academy, Category 1 academy life can be like.
Okay, my name's Saul Isaacson Hurst, and the company's My Personal Football Coach.
Tell us a little bit about your involvement here with the camp and with Wolves.
Okay, so a little bit about my journey. So my background is I'm a skills coach. I worked at Chelsea and Tottenham in the academy for 10 years as an individual skills coach, and now I've got an app called My Personal Football Coach, which is like a homework individual ball mastery program. We've been working for the last 3 years with Wolves in the academy, as well as many other clubs all around the world, pro and amateur. They use the app as a homework training portal for their players, and obviously GIS, the link with GIS came through that. They asked me to come here and work with Wolves and West Ham, and to basically give everyone on the camp access to the app. So we're giving those guys a taste of obviously elite level training, and looking at the best players in the world. The similarities they have is obviously they all work away from the game, but they're all dynamic with the ball. So I think it's an area that we don't spend enough time on, particularly in America and in England, is individual ball work. So spending a bit of time and also trying to build that intrinsic mechanism for working away from the game alone with the ball.
Yeah, this is something that's new kind of in the U.S. is talking about building the culture away from training, away from organized games. How does your app help players get better at home away from this?
Okay, so the idea is the app's basically set up like a course, like a training program. So the idea that you can, wherever you are in the world, all you need is a ball. You can go and do it by yourself. So it's really about, empowering the players and the parents and the coaches to have a consistent program. I can go and work away from the game and know it's a proven program to develop my technique and also my explosive movement with the ball, which I said is, the common traits of top players. So it's really there, so you can go, you can access it. It's idiot proof if you like. It's age appropriate. We have 5 to 7s, we have 8 to 11s, 12 to 16, 17 plus. And it's really about, delivering that like world-class technical program for players all over the world.
And tell us a little bit about how you're able to incorporate that with what's going on with Wolves.
Okay, so what we do, just on this camp, you mean?
Yeah.
So basically the idea here was that GIS invited me along. So the idea, we work with lots of clubs around the world and camp organisations like GIS. They get us in and they like to include the app as part of their membership, camp membership fee. Right. So the idea, they all come on, all the players get that. And what I do as well, I spend a bit of time with all the players on the camp, working on a bit of dynamic ball mastery, a little bit of 1v1. And then what we do also, we film some of the players, the MVPs, if you like, from each session. And then those guys will go on the app as well. So it's just about trying to improve engagement. Obviously adds value to the camp in terms of what GIS are offering. And obviously, sharing what Wolves do as among many other clubs around the world and how to support player development.
Somebody at home who hears this and they're like, I want my kid to be able to work on this and get better away from the game. How do they access the app? How do they get involved?
Very easy. All you do is go to the App Store, you download My Personal Football Coach, the My Personal Football Coach app, and then you're live. You sign up, and then it's like a yearly membership, and that gives you access to the detailed 30-session course, which involves all videos. Easy to set up, and also there's lots of other bonus material, so it's easy to access. It's aimed at not only pro players but beginners and players who just want to build that confidence, because as we know as experienced coaches, that relationship with the ball is so key.
Mark Campbell, Head of Coaching at Wolves Academy.
Okay, so I've got to start talking to Reese about your time here and how long you've been here, and a player named Jackson Conway that came through here, and I've had the chance to call his matches in the USL with Atlanta United. Tell me a little bit about Conway when he was here, and now you've been able to see him progress.
Yeah, it's great to see him, and it's really fantastic to see him go and develop and play in the MLS. When he came, he was very bright. Technically very good, great attitude to work, and that's something that Wolves staff look for in players. Again, you see him grow and progress through the GIS system, and I'm just really pleased to see him go and do well in the MLS.
And I mean, that's the whole goal here is for Wolves to try to find some talent and start to cultivate it. How did you get involved in coming over to the States for these camps?
To be fair, I mean, Reese and GIS have been excellent. They've partnered with Wolves probably 7 years or so ago, and we first came over, did some ID camps. From there, we did national camp, and players obviously are sent from national camp over to England, and that's how the involvement started. And then obviously the players are so good and so talented. It's a great sort of talent pool for us, for us to pick players off and send them to England. So that's how we first started. It's just sort of grown from there. We've had lots of talented players come to England. It's been good. Over
your time here, how has the baseline level improved in the States?
Yeah, it's improved massively. I think the coaches are getting better out here. The players show willingness to work and to develop, which has obviously enhanced their development, and the players now are just increased in terms of their ability level. So we started off coming over here, and the players were at a good level, but now we're looking at players seriously to come over to England, and there's been 2 or 3 really good candidates, and we've signed one fairly recently, and we've got one more boy that's going to keep coming over.
So I was talking to Daniel a little bit about kind of the tactical side of it, and he said that is one major difference that he's seeing is the tactical awareness.
Yes,
What is these camps? How do you kind of bridge that gap between players who are technically good but don't have the tactical awareness?
That's a tough challenge, because obviously the players at this camp are they're all good players, but diverse in terms of where their backgrounds, where they're from, all different coach experiences. It's a tough challenge in 4 days to try and do that. Right. If we can give them 2 or 3 bits of information to go away with, take back to their clubs, that's a bonus. Now, I think through GIS we've got lots of partner clubs. If we can give them information and help the coaches, upskill the coaches, that will improve their tactical awareness, and then hopefully they can transfer that to the players, so it just sort of snowballs and gets better and better every year, and that's something that we've seen over the last 6 years or so.
Excellent. And for parents who have a talented player, but they hear the tactical side, what are some things you recommend to parents who they can help make their kids better at home?
Use My Personal Football Coach, the app, which is really important. We use that back at home at Wolves, and all our players use that, and you can see them developing. Rest is really important. I know in the US players are really obsessed with working and getting as much as they can, but in England we make sure the kids rest as well, so that's really important. And again, just try and work at the best level that you can. Again, it's difficult because there's so many soccer clubs in the US, lots of travelling to do, but if you can get to a club that's obviously linked with Wolves and GIS, fantastic, because hopefully you'll upskill and get better, and obviously we get to see them a little bit more as well.
And how has the partnership with GIS helped Wolves as a whole club?
It's been massive, because it's given us a brand awareness in the US. also exposure to a lot more players than we could ever dream of. So it's been really, really successful. And again, we've had probably, I can't remember how many players we've had from national camp come to England, but we've had probably 10, 12 players that we've trialled consistently over 2 or 3 years. And again, like I say, we've signed one, and there's a player here, or maybe 2, that we're really considering coming over to England and making it a bit more permanent.
Okay, my name's Jonathan Hunter, Head of Coaching and Development for the foundation phase, which is 7s to 12s.
Okay, we were talking about it before we started. You've been coming over to the States for quite a while now. How have you seen, the partnership with Wolves and GIS and just the level in the States improve?
Yeah, well, first of all, the partnership has grown over the last 7 years, working together. So it started off with a few partner clubs, right. And then obviously over the years, as our club's been in different transitions, the partnership has also been in transition. Mm-hmm. So transitions from us being in, the EPL, dropping down and then progressing back up to the EPL. So in terms of partner clubs, the progression has been there over a number of years.
What have you seen on the club side of it that's been a benefit from coming over to the States and putting this work in?
Oh, definitely. I think first of all, you're getting the global marketing. Mm-hmm. So we're getting out to parts in the USA, across North America, mm-hmm. that sometimes the brand of Wolves wouldn't necessarily hit. Right. And also we're able to develop our methodology, our playing philosophy out with our partner clubs here in North America.
Cool. Tell us a little bit about the women's side. Reese mentioned you're the best person to talk to about how Wolverhampton works with the women's side of the game, both at a top level and in the community. How does that how does that work?
Yeah, so for us at our football club, we have a senior women's team. Our community department use their area of the business to recruit the girls, and it's for the talent identification. A few years ago, there's a big transition with women's football in England. Mm-hmm. So now you've got the Women's Super League, right. Which is growing, which is something that as a club we're trying to work ourselves on our way into a position to enter a team into it. Okay. But for now we have an academy program that works in sort of every two-year age bracket, so under 12s, under 10s, under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, 18s, and then the senior team. But again, the community department worked really, really hard to set up the talent identification side of it to recruit girls into our academy program. The
senior team, is it a lot of local girls, or are you bringing in players from overseas?
At the moment, it's a lot of local girls. But what we're trying to do, like I said, is work ourselves into a position where we're having girls coming in from different parts of the country and in different parts of the world as well.
Well, we'll talk about this side of it here. So you have a girls' division here at the camp. Are there going to be girls from this area coming over for more training?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we try to do again is make sure we're recruiting the best girls here to come across to England and integrate really within our girls program. So again, they get the experience on the ground, like I said, of the Wolves way, the Wolves methodology, playing philosophy, our club values, to develop them as well as people as well as players.
So my name is Dan Worthington and I'm the goalkeeping coach on this camp.
Okay, so you work with a variety of clubs and GIS, right?
Yep. So I work with Wolves on this camp, obviously. I've worked with Stoke, I've worked with West Ham. I did the international camps with Charlton, Rangers, Malaga, Espanyol. So I've had a lot of camp time.
Nice. So I think one thing that gets lost in camps when parents are looking at it is the specialty side of training. Tell us a little bit about the specialty goalkeeper training that happens here.
Yeah, so the goalkeepers generally spend an hour and a half with me each session. We can then really knuckle down into the technical side of the position, the nitty gritty, really get them going on what we would look for in an academy back in the UK. Mm-hmm. But what's equally as important is once they've done their time with us, with the goalkeeping coach, they also need to spend time with their team, right. So they can work on team structure, right. And then that gives us as the opportunity to go and watch them in the sessions as well.
Okay, so I've talked to a lot of the coaches about how the level has improved over their time coming to the camps.
Yep.
goalkeeping's one area the United States has generally been pretty good at.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of maybe the bigger picture as a goalkeeper, not just the individual skill, but that team side of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've been out here now working with the goalkeepers for 4 years. I've definitely seen a massive improvement since I first started coming out. I mean, I'll touch on individually and team related. So individually, what you find with the American goalkeepers is there's a lot of cross-transferable skills with other sports.
Right.
So whether it be basketball, American football, those skills are very, very similar, especially basketball that you'd use in goalkeeping.
Yeah, absolutely.
So generally, if they've been playing it from a young age, they're already at a decent standard before they come to camp. So, yeah, it's always pleasing that the guys and girls are using other sports to improve their goalkeeping. And in terms of team-related sessions, I mean, especially when they come to a camp like this, it is equally important that they spend time with the goalkeeping coach from a technical side of things, but also as a goalkeeping coach, we need to see them within a team environment. Because back in the UK, I've had goalkeepers that are very good in training sessions. Technically, you get them into games and they struggle. That might be with decision making because they're under pressure. So yeah, sometimes we have goalkeepers that are technically sound in training, and then you get them in games where it's a little bit more high pressure. There's a lot more decision making to be done, opposed. So it's good for us to see both sides of view.
And something now that's even more of a focus with goalkeepers is the ability to play with their feet and read the game.
Correct. So, statistically, the goalkeeper will touch the ball more with his or her feet than they will with their hands in a game. And I just think it shows that's the way the game's going. Teams now are playing more out from the back. And, the goalkeeper is the starting point. The distribution's got to be good, not with one foot, but with both. Supporting angles, we're not just there to keep the ball out of the net now. We're expected to start attacks, build from the back. So it's just the way the game's going.
Tell us a little bit about a player like Bennett, who you've had a chance to see here, and kind of what that trajectory is for him.
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with him now for 4 years. He is highly rated by the staff here. He did go over to Wolves in the UK for 3 weeks last year, so the staff over there could have a good look at him in that environment, because obviously it's a lot different from camp environment. They'll be training 2-3 times a day, multiple times a week. He get to see the dietitian, he'll get to see the sports science side of things. So they did have a good look at him last year for 3 weeks. They did all these measurements in terms of height, body mass, weight. The guy's rated really, really highly here. So if he is one that we could potentially have a top player come from a GIS camp, then that's the whole reason we're here, to develop players like Bennett and give him that chance.
Yeah, and that's the underrated part of it. I think a lot of times people look at these camps as it's a marketing exercise as opposed to a player identification exercise, and it's not the case here.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to play, there was never anything around like this before. You used to have to be very lucky to be scouted, right place, right time type of thing. Right. Whereas when you've got camps like this that are organised specifically for, top academy coaches, category 1 coaches coming over, their whole reason they come over there is to identify talent. And if we can identify talent and improve and develop them and hopefully give them that chance, then that's the whole reason we're here. I mean, through the tours alone, if you do well enough on national camp and get selected to go on the tour, you're going to be playing games against academy teams, you're going to be playing games against academy development teams. You're going to be in that right environment where, you're going to be looked at.
Reese Williams, I'm Vice President of Global Image Sports.
So out here checking out Wolves, Espanyol, give us a kind of a big picture view of Global Image Sports and how this all comes together on a yearly basis.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of it has to do with going out to our partner clubs in America, partnering them with professional organizations across Europe, the Americas. And really what the aim and the goal is to drive value-added services, best practices in terms of coaching, player identification, global awareness for these organizations. Okay, so for example, Espanyol and Wolves will have a host of partner clubs across North America and internationally. We manage those partner clubs, and again, it's really about delivering their services into clubs from a best practices standpoint. So that's coaching, that's content, that's curriculums, to really help them develop and to give them support, really. For Global Image Sports' standpoint, that's obviously the core driver, but we also deliver in services such as sponsorship programs, etc., into the clubs, because we find that as an area that they need help and they need improvement on, because they're not necessarily going to have the time and the resources to develop that themselves. So that is another area of the business that we look to help youth clubs and players, parents, coaches in North America.
What I can really appreciate is that the partnerships on the international clubs coming over, it's not strictly just a marketing exercise. No. Like, there is a pretty heavy player identification component.
Yes, I mean, that's why we have their academy staff out here at the minute. It's not just a commercial, rock up in the t-shirt, for lack of a better word. It's not a complete, entirely commercial project. It has to have a good mix, because that is on the field. That is where the players, the coaches find value. That is the day-to-day operation of a youth club in North America. So we have to be able to provide that, because if not, then really what it is, it just becomes a logo on a website and that on a shirt, and that that is not what we want to do. That is definitely not part of our core driver. That is, for us, part of it, because global awareness. We want to provide. We want to develop young Wolves fans. Now, now they're in the Premier League. Yeah. We want to develop, Espanyol fans. The game globally is growing, so that's part of the territory, really. But we have to be able to provide a high level coaching opportunity for the players, and that provides the legitimacy of what we do at Global Image Sports.
And something we've talked about before with the youth club side of it here in the States, the coaching education component, and how that can benefit the club, just embedded in the club, better coaching education, then the players improve at a faster level.
Absolutely. So for our clubs that are partnered with these professional organizations, it makes it easier for the coaches when they come out here, if they're working to the same standards, and at least in terms of what their methodology is. So we always look to provide coaching opportunities. We do it around the country. We also provide them in Europe as well. It's really one of the most important things that we do is helping the coaches, because I think we were talking to Wolves' Mark Campbell earlier, and it's okay. How do we really track that progression with the players? Because if we can improve their coaching, let's be honest, Wolves and Espanyol, they're not going to be able to be here all of the time.
Exactly.
So it's providing that resource to them that then they can take back to their clubs. If the players here can come away with 2-3 things that make them a better player, same with the coaches that we work with. If they can pick up 2-3 things that they can pass on the knowledge from Espanyol or Wolves, then we're doing our job, really. I mean, I think that's key, because the game is growing. These guys, this is what they do. That is their life. That's what they breathe. It's a great opportunity for coaches to come out. We do them several throughout the year, and learn from the best, honestly.
How many youth clubs in the States are you working with right now?
About 400 youth partner clubs in several different capacities. A lot of them are partnered, linked directly with the professional organizations that we represent directly. Some are in other capacities, whether that be in our camp programs, our sponsorship opportunities, that they look to leverage. A lot of them also, they travel, with us to Europe. Part of our program is the access we can provide to these youth clubs via international tours to provide those opportunities for players to go and really see what it's like at the top level, to see what they are doing and to have access to their facilities. So, the international tours component, again, is another area of the services we provide to these 400 clubs and beyond that we have in North America.
And then how many professional clubs are part of GIS?
We have about 16 professional clubs. Majority of those are, again, the same structure as what you're seeing here today. Partner club network that provides a pathway for players and for coaches that they filter into these national camps that we're sitting here in Atlanta. they're coming from. If we look out here, I know it's obviously not a visual, but we're probably looking at 15 different states here. Wow. Just right here right now for Espanyol. Same thing with Wolves. We've got people coming from Saskatoon, Canada. We have we have people from Vancouver here. So they're making the trip here, and I think that's credit to what we're doing really, because they're making a long haul trip to come and work with these coaches and to provide that opportunity to their sons and daughters, which is really just I think a fantastic thing, how the game globally is growing here, because people are doing that, and we know that's not an easy thing for the parents to do, and I think it's we thank them, because I think it obviously it helps us, but I think first and foremost it's about the players.
How have you seen just that growth in general since you started with GIS?
Oh, tremendous. I mean, we when we first started, we had one club and 5 or 6 partners. We've now grown that to 400 partner clubs, and the services that we're offering, we're always continuing to look at the marketplace and go, okay, well, what are youth clubs? Because America is changing constantly.
Yeah.
The landscape of youth soccer is changing constantly. So we have to be ahead of the curve and say, okay, what are the pain points for youth clubs? What are the pain points for players in this country that is an area of opportunity for us to get involved with our network and our partners, because we see that as the best opportunity to service our partners, our youth clubs, because they are the ones that are driving this country really, and where the participation in youth soccer for boys and girls is in this country.
What's been your favorite thing about working with GIS?
I think it's global. It's in the name. It's Global Image Sports. For us, it's being able to have an impact on players and coaches globally. It's the guys coming over here. We've heard from coaches around the world, and they love coming out here. So we're impacting them in a positive way. Same thing with the players whether they're coming from, we have programs in Australia, we have programs in Canada, as I said. We are positively impacting the game. I like to believe, and I truly believe that we are having a positive impact on youth soccer in this country, not just from a participation, but from a standards level as well. Because that's honestly, that's why I'm involved. That's why I'm here. There's a marketing portion to it, but it only goes as far as what these guys are doing on the field, and I think that's really where the children are impacted, and that's in a positive way again. So
yeah, I mean, we posted a video on Instagram of Tiago, 7 years old, in the Espanyol camp, and you were telling me this kid just cracks you up every time you see him.
Yeah, absolutely. Young lads, he's coming in here, and it's brilliant to see, because he has a pure love for the game. Mm-hmm. He's doing the tricks, he's doing the flicks, and that's really what we need to see. I mean, it's organised, as you can see out here. It is organised, but what we want people playing. At the end of the day, whether it be a tennis ball, a football, a soccer ball, the kids are playing, and that's what Tiago's about. He's been here for 2 weeks with us, and again, his look at him. He's doing the flicks. He's doing things I wish I could do. And it's obviously that's what I think we need in North America, in the USA, is players like him. Literally having a ball at his feet and loving it, because I think that's what it's about, and providing this type of environment for them to really strive.
So for youth clubs, for DOCs who are out there and hear this and want to find out how to partner with GIS, explain it.
It's for us, we have representation for each different professional club. Again, you can find a lot of our services on our website, Global Image Sports. There's a contact there that we will if they reach out, we can sit down with them and look at what type of structure they would look in a partnership, really. I mean, again, there's 16 different professional clubs. We have a variety of different structures that our partnerships offer, and we're happy to sit down and consult with them and see, obviously find a way for them to get involved, honestly. Again, it's all about, for us, providing these types of services to those youth clubs, because we want to know what their pain points are. We want to know how to improve their lives, really, in terms of, even if it's an administrative issue with the clubs, value added services. Sometimes You know, there's other things that go on and around the game that we're able to alleviate, if you like, that, you know, it helps them do what they're good at, and that is the coaching.
I love that it's not just you buy a package. No. It seems like it's really tailored for the individual youth club to benefit them.
Honestly, I mean, and from a business standpoint, I think one of the key things for us is we can't be driven by what brand the professional clubs are wearing, for example.
Right.
So, you know, there's no team wear deal that's going to tie them in to something. It's not. So, you know, it's with the professional clubs themselves. It's with, you know, it's with Wolves, it's with Espanyol, it's with West Ham United, it's with FC Porto. It's not with who technically they're wearing every day of the week, because, you know, it has to be with the club, and I think that is something that gives us a little bit more freedom to provide other services.
My name is Aldo Ramirez Marinelli. I'm the partnership executive at Global in Sports. I deal mainly with the Italian and Spanish clubs at GIS.
Cool.
Hi, my name is Danny. I train under 11 in Espanyol, and it's a pleasure for me to stay here.
So what I loved coming out to see today is, you know, I've seen for years and years English clubs coming to the United States, but it seems like more now we're getting the Italian, the Spanish clubs over, and Espanyol is new with GIS. Tell us a little bit about how that partnership came about.
Yeah, we started with Espanyol about 2 years ago. Obviously, we were working with English professional clubs and Italians, and we found the need of having a Spanish club from La Liga. So that's why we approached RCD Espanyol from Barcelona, Spain. They were eager to work in the U.S., expand their brand. So we started a partnership with them, and again, it's been 2 years, and we look to have hopefully a 5-10-year relationship with Espanyol. We can expand their program to every corner of the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
How important from the Espanyol side is it for you to be here and work with kids in the United States?
For it's very important to present to USA our methodology train. I think that is top in Spain, and it's important for develop of the players to do this and train with another rules, another times, another works. It's important for that.
And we were talking about it before we started. The U15 coach from Espanyol just won La Liga with the U15s, right?
And they play against FC Barcelona, and it's right behind you is Xavi Corominas. So we having senior coaches here at the national camp, and I think for players, if the coaches are able to watch this, it's pretty important to be able to work with coaches of this level.
How have you found the level of the players here at the camp?
The players are very good players. I think that technical it's excellent. In comparative with Spain, here work more technical. In the campus have a lot of players who dominate the ball very good. But the problem here in USA, I think that it's the tactical and interpretation of the game. In Spain, work a lot, the tactical and interpretation of the game, and I think that is different. In my opinion, I think that here have a lot of players that technical it's excellent, but in Spain have a balance with the three things.
Let's talk a little bit about the coaching education component from GIS. That's something that always grabbed my attention, how youth clubs who are partners with you benefit from the partnership with an Espanyol, and how their coaches who are working with the kids day in and day out are able to pass that knowledge on.
Yeah. For us, obviously, it's very important what the players get, but also what the coaches get. Because obviously, better coaches that you can develop here in the U.S. is better for U.S. players, because those coaches are the ones that are going to be working with them day to day. So coaching education is a key part for Global Sports, and obviously RCD Espanyol, which are trying to expand their brand, their methodology, how they develop the players in Spain. over here in the U.S. So it's a key component, and every time we have an opportunity to bring the RCD Espanyol coaches to the U.S., we try to tie up some coaching education opportunities where the local coaches from the host club can share ideas, pick their brains, etc. Because again, better coaches will mean better players in the future.
And what is it, in your opinion, that sets Espanyol's methodology apart? What makes it one of the best?
Make it different from others. ¿Qué les hace diferente al resto de España?
Our objective with Espanyol is not a good play, a good game with our teams. Now our objective is the players go up to the first team, who can stay under 11, under 12, under 13, and here develop is go to. And our objective is go to the first team. This is our objective, and I think that it's a different to the other academies. In the other academies, look for a good game, an image. I think that Espanyol, and I think that the objective is very, very clear, and it's completed in this season. In this season, in the first team, have 14 players who play in academy before.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think that it's the second team in La Liga that have more players with formation in the academy, and it's a statistic to reinforce our work.
Thanks again to Reese and everybody at GIS and all the coaches who took the time while they were running sessions to have a little bit of a conversation with me about youth soccer. It was really interesting to hear their thoughts, new to the American soccer world, but their thoughts about the technical versus the tactical discussion. And this is something that I don't know how much it gets talked about in American soccer youth development, and it was really interesting to get a different perspective on it. Would love to hear your thoughts as you listen. Love to hear some feedback from you guys about other topics you'd like to see covered. Tweet at us at Soccer Down Here. You can also send an email, soccerdownhere@gmail.com. And we will be back soon with another Next Generation episode. Thanks for listening.